Welcome back to another episode of Deposits with me, Brooke England, brought to you by the Revolt Podcast Network. And oh my gosh, y'all, I'm so excited because my guest today is a legend, an icon, a change maker. 35 million records sold, artist, producer, writer, entrepreneur. The resume speaks for itself. Thank you so much for being here today, Akon. Round of applause for Akon. Everybody, oh my God, this is so lit. How are you doing today?
No, I'm amazing.
You amazing?
Absolutely.
I'm amazing too. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Now, with a resume as extensive as yours, I usually open up each episode with asking people, what do they think most people know them from? And I would ask you, is it safe to say Locked Up is the song that changed your life?
I would probably say Locked Up is the song that started my life, really.
Started your life.
Started it.
Wow, that's a very interesting perspective because I was hoping that you would say yeah, but this answer is even more interesting. I want to know, what was Akon's life like before Locked Up?
I mean, when you think about before Locked Up, there was a whole nother life that got me locked up in the first place. And that locked up life, or pre-locked up life, is more the life where you're trying to fit in, find that median of, okay, what am I going to do in life? I want to be successful, but how do I get there? Okay, by any means necessary, I'm going to get to that goal, but there's no plan. Everything's a hustle. You're just trying to get it where you can fit in. You know what I'm saying? But then once you get locked up, you sitting down. You have no choice but to get your life right. Think about the past. Think about the future. Like, when you're sitting down, it's like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Is it going to be this right here?
Yeah.
Or am I going to switch my life up to the better and create a better environment, less riskier, and something that's actually planned out that you can actually execute?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, believe me, being locked up, that was the turning point of the old me to the new me, for sure.
Yes, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so your life started at
Absolutely.
Locked Up. So do you remember that check? Do you remember when you signed that deal?
Yeah, actually, when I signed that deal, the money wasn't that great, but it was better than what I could make at that time. Coming off of, street money it's nothing like street money. It's a difference, believe me, right? But then when you can
But
actually,
it's a lot come with that, y'all.
no, it ain't worth what comes with it.
Right.
It really ain't. Like, you don't. It's definitely not what it comes with. But ultimately, when I got the first check, it was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna figure out a way to save it, or figure out a way to legitimately flip it. But I gotta find a way to sustain it, though. You know what I'm saying? Because once this goes, if I don't get my project going in time to generate revenue before this wears out, okay, then I'm back to square one trying to figure out, okay, what's next?
Of course.
You know
so
what I
how
mean?
many zeros? Do you remember?
Oh, only 3.
Only 3? No, you lying.
3 zeros. Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what you brought with that first check? Like, was there, you say you were making investments. Do you remember a particular investment?
I bought a recording studio. That was the first thing I did with my money. I had $12,000 to buy a recording studio. You know what I'm saying?
Do you remember how much the recording studio was?
It cost more than $12,000. But I put the first $12,000 up and just grind the rest of it. You know what I mean? But then, to me, that was a sustainable concept because at least with that, I can always create music. I can always sell beats. I can always sell songs. If all fails, at least I got a place that I can rent out that people can utilize and pay me for the hours.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
So you came into it with a business.
Oh yeah, I was definitely a businessman turned artist. Cause I came into it saying, okay, man, if I can be famous enough, then I can benefit from a standpoint of just utilizing my fame to maximize on the business.
To create more.
So it was always, music was always a vehicle to get to the money for me.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yeah. So as a businessman, then most people know you discovered Lady Gaga.
Right.
What was that deal like? Did you feel like it was a fair deal bringing her to the label? Did you get points?
That was more than a fair deal because that was structured as a record company. Like, I was the record company. Then Interscope was my distributor, which also was the partner. They actually had her locked in before I even came on board. So Jimmy Iovine actually threw me a bone by adding me to the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a gift. Like, I thank him every day because that created and also set me up as a music mogul from there.
Yeah.
It changed the whole game.
Because she's an icon.
1,000%.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Even if you never made another record or never discovered another person.
Right. That's enough. I can always leverage that. I can always leverage that to give me any door.
Oh,
you know
my
what I mean?
gosh.
Absolutely.
So you would say that that was a fair deal. Do you feel like that also helped you make more, create more business opportunities for yourself?
100%. I mean, when you attach to a big name like that, it opened, especially if you're a hustler, you're going to always see the opportunity and you're going to maximize it to the fullest. It's no different from when you look at Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Jay's a hustler. He gets it. I'm not saying that he uses her for any reason, but she definitely helps to coordinate better concepts and ideas and better deals that may come because of the fact that they're actually together.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So anything that you have of value, if you know how to maximize it like the right way, you can take it from 0 to 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously a great businessman and a talented artist, but you have a great ear for music, like we just mentioned,
Right.
Lady Gaga. But I want you to answer this question for me. What does Davido and Wizkid have in common with Akon?
Well, the thing is, they were all both part of the convict music infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Like when you look at extended families, they're the beginning in the to me they're the poster childs of what you see today in Afrobeat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it was interesting because I was doing an interview with Sway, and I was kind of giving people the analogies, and it was one part that I actually missed out when it came to Davido, because I mentioned the fact that of course he was obviously backed, by a wealthy family, but the part that I miscalculated, and I know people can probably get it wrong, was his hard work ethic got him where he went. Like he ain't asked for nothing. He started from the bottom. Like,
and he comes from
worked
a wealthy family,
hard.
right?
Yeah, but that, think about how many people out here that actually have money that still can't get to where he went.
Right.
I know ball players all day that's investing, got record labels, got artists, still nothing, crickets, right? It's billionaires all day with kids and daughters and stuff, but it was his creativity, his thought process, and if I didn't restructure how that answer was, people would easily think that he was a spoiled kid.
Yeah.
Right? But I had to make sure that I cleared that up because that kid worked for everything that he deserved everything that he got, because believe it or not, being a part of that actually made it harder because of the fact that he was that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he always found that way to get there and become the best that he could be. And at one point, he was the hottest artist in Africa in general. You can't mention Afrobeats now without even mentioning Davido.
Yeah.
You
so, and those two artists, Wizkid and Davido, were connected to you, and you say poster children of Afrobeats. So
Right.
is it safe to say that you created Afrobeats?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
I would never take a credit to say, okay, Akon created Afrobeats. I just saw what was already created and building and tried to find avenues and instruments to make it bigger. I wanted the world to see what that was.
Yeah.
I was trying to expose the already existing talent in Africa. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I feel like my role is to, wherever my value can play a part at expanding or benefiting to a point where someone else can utilize or rub against me and better their life, then my job is done. Like if I attach myself to you and then you're in a better place than you was before we got attached, then alhamdulillah, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you think about when people say, because a lot of people say Drake
Right.
introduced Wizkid
Right.
and that sound, but I know a lot of my friends from Nigeria and stuff like that, they like, hell no, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of, I would say Americans
Right.
believe that. What do you think about that?
I mean, all that, because you got to think, everybody plays a role. In every stage of everybody's career, there's going to be something that helps propel you to the next level, right? And Drake was at a point where his curiosity helped to discover certain artists from a fan standpoint.
Yeah.
Because in actuality, when you think about it, they're not wrong, because a lot of people never knew about that until they heard him maybe on the Drake record, right?
Like me, yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that, yeah, he did partly discover, to an extent, that talent in his music to expose it to other people that never knew what it was, right? So I think everybody plays a role when it comes to that, and there's no one person that can say you give the credit to something. You can give them the credit for being in the beginning, for believing in it in the beginning, but it's going to be a lot of other particles and steps that you go where everywhere where you drop a crumb, all those crumbs come together as one piece of bread, one slice of bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it takes, believe me, more than one ingredient to make a slice of bread.
Right.
So everybody plays a role.
So both sides are correct.
There's no right or wrong
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who you feel like you want to support more. But that don't mean that because you support that person more, that person gets more credit.
Yeah. So, I would love to see you on a record with Thames.
Oh, Thames?
I heard you say really good things about her.
Nah, she's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing.
Do you think we could possibly, what do you think?
I'm just
Are
saying,
there any?
there's some birdies in the tree that might just be like, just wait and see, wait and see.
Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing.
It's a lot of surprises coming in the
I've been
future.
trying to put the sounds in my head, like what that would sound like. You change your voice a lot, so
Right.
I think like that would be good. I see you coming back with your song "Enjoy That,"
Right.
and it's so interesting. It's a huge sounding record already. Like when you first hear it, you hear the sample and all of that. I would have thought that you would have came back with Afrobeats.
Right, right.
Have you gotten that a lot?
No, actually, what's interesting is I've been doing Afrobeats since 2010, but records never released in America.
Wow.
It goes back to, like our fan base is very segregated, right? Hip hoppers listen to hip hop. And America's different. Country, they listen to country. R&B lovers, they listen to R&B and then occasionally hip hop. But it's just recently that people start listening to international music.
Right.
Right? So people, my fans specifically, the ones that followed Akon all the way through the Locked Ups and the Soul Survivors and the Mr. Lonelys and I Wanna Loves You and the Smack That's, they have no idea that I had a full Latin album out that went #1 in Latin billboards. They would not even know that I put out actually an Afrobeat album during the pandemic. No, because they didn't listen to outside genres.
Yeah.
But I know in the future, as we start dropping international music and more Afrobeat records, people will be paying attention now. Because now I said, okay, once I introduce myself back into the business for what they know me for, then when I start releasing records outside the genre, they be like, oh, okay, I see you, I hear you.
Right.
You know?
What would you say were some of the obstacles that you ran into when creating this sound?
Actually, the only obstacle was getting people to listen. I think that was the biggest obstacle, was getting foreign ears to pay attention, And everybody thinks you're crazy when you be like, yo, this is the future. They be like, yeah, all right, whatever, nigga. I mean, that's what it is. So now you just work hard to make it the future. And then when it becomes the future, they be like, yeah, you said it. Or, man, that was always going to be popping, man. What you talking about? But it's cool because now you know at the end of the day that it's going to be the future.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love me some Afrobeat.
Oh, yeah. But you can't. The thing is, if you African or you Latin or any alternate descent, it's no way you're going to hear Afrobeat and not move. It's in your blood. Like, this is a part of our DNA. We are all African. So I watch all my friends in America, and they be like, man, that's something about that Afrobeat, man. It's just getting my soul, man. I just love it. I said, because that's your original, that's really you. Like,
right.
Like
and it's like happy music.
It's
too.
happy music. It's not, it ain't nothing that's going to make you want to get robbed or get shot when you leave the club.
Thank God, right? You can listen to it in the morning if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we mentioned your new single, Enjoy That, and I hear you have a TikTok album coming out. What is that? Can you explain what a TikTok album is?
Well, it's the first time that it's ever been done.
Yeah.
It's the first ever collaboration with TikTok and an artist to release an EP. So this is going to be hopefully the industry standard one day,
Oh, yeah.
After we do it, then hopefully we want other artists to be able to collaborate with TikTok and create these kind of concepts, because they just needed to be, I felt like there needed to be a new way of music distribution, first of all.
Yeah.
Everything is just so boring, so copy and paste and cookie cutter. It's like, okay, give me something exciting. Now I'm watching all these platforms. They're the ones breaking all the new songs.
Yeah.
This is where you're discovering actually newer artists. I'm hearing better songs on TikTok than I can hear any good given day on the radio. So it's like, that is a new platform where music is being discovered and new artists are getting time to shine. But okay, cool. Now that my catalog was, going crazy on it, I said, you know what? Let me just drop an album on this bad boy, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to TikTok with the idea, they loved it, went crazy, and then we decided to put that together.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
So I remember when TikTok was in the news cycle
Right.
about their contracts with DSPs.
Right.
So you could kind of see that this was,
Yeah, it's
coming
getting
down
serious.
the pipeline.
Right.
So, I mean, when you say TikTok album, that sounds like TikTok the label. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
And I mean, and to their credit, they are the ones, they're like the labels nowadays, right? The question is whether or not they're going to create a legitimate distribution channel for artists, but that's another lane that, of course, most likely they'll probably get pushed back in. So it's like finding that median where you can still survive and allow others to continue to survive as well. Or you can just be a renegade and say, I'm taking all of it like Apple did.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Depending.
So a person with as much as information as you can give us, an artist doing an album with TikTok, what does that look like? You say partnership, is that 50-50?
Oh, well, the partnerships is a little bit more I'm leaning towards my end.
Okay.
I'm the majority of the project holder, but for the most part, I think that's really all negotiation because this is the first time it's ever been done.
Yeah.
I know TikTok's value, they know my value, and we just respected each other's value when it came to certain things. So we were able to negotiate to where both sides were smiling walking out the door. But every artist might be different. You just never know.
That's so dope. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because to even have that idea and then go forth with it,
Right.
get the meetings and then get the contracts and, get it signed. And now
Right.
you have something in motion where you're the first person doing something like that. So
No,
that's
absolutely.
really, really dope. I read that you had a Guinness record for being #1 with the most master ringtones.
Right. So the ringtones is the same thing I'm doing with TikTok.
TikTok.
At the time when I was releasing records, I thought about it. And I said, hold up. Everybody running around here, driving themselves crazy trying to sell singles. 3.5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes long for $1.99.
Right.
Then you got ringtones that's selling for 15 seconds for $4.99. I said, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong side of the business. I need to be selling ringtones.
Yeah.
So now, as I'm making songs that I can hear playing back on people's phones. That's like the Mr. Lonely records. Like, these are records that was literally made for ringtone sales. Concept-wise, from the sonics of the production and these little voices and all that. And sure enough, when we started targeting on ringtones, we just started spreading like wildfire. And even when I was
Wow.
producing for other artists, I would make them ringtone ready. So it would just go, and that was like my main focus: sell ringtones. Because ringtones do two things. First, every time the phone rings, it markets and promotes your song.
Right.
Makes people want to hear the full song, so they go back and actually purchase the song, right? And then two, you make so much more money.
Yeah.
It's like you're making triple what you would have normally made. So that was my revenue model. And I said, boom, we hit it. And before you know it, we looked up. We was in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most ringtones sold ever.
And I remember that time, like
Yeah.
when artists were just getting rich from ringtones. Soulja Boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, how much money do you think, or off the top of your head, would you say that you've made from ringtones?
Oh, ringtones was ridiculous. Because you got to think, those contracts back in them days, they didn't have digital clauses. So most of that money was going in your pocket. Until the labels got smart, and the following contract, they're like, okay, well, this is a digital clause. I'm like, okay, well, how much you gonna pay me for my digital rights?
Right.
Now it's a different conversation altogether, because digitally make way more than analog. So, you know what? Hold on to your digital rights. Let's continue moving forward this way.
You know what I'm saying?
It was an opportunity, because when I'm looking at the technology, I'm looking at where the world is going. Everything going towards computers, everything going towards mobile. So I started gearing all my music content towards that. I wanted to know, okay, how much is Facebook making from us, and how can we maximize on all of our followers and not just a percentage of it? You know what I'm saying? So as they, fixing and rebranding their revenue models and adjusting it, I'm adjusting mine too in the negotiation.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say, the way that ringtones were an opportunity for artists to just, become rich or just
Right.
make stupid amounts of money, what would you say would be adjacent to that right now in the market right now?
Well, in the market right now, everything is based around content creation and streaming. Mm-hmm. That's it. The content, whoever owns the content, that's who's getting paid. And streaming, you want to create as many opportunities and creative ways for your records to stream as possible. Some people think it's quantity. So if you notice, if you're looking at people's albums now, they going from doing, back when I was coming up, we did 10, 13 songs in the album, because the labels only paid us for 10 songs at that time. Today, you get an album, you might get about 20 songs on it, 30 songs on it. And you're like, why they got so many damn songs on this record? Right? It's because the more songs you got on the album, the more streaming revenue you can create, because there's more songs to stream now. So now people looking at the streaming model, and it's actually working.
What are some opportunities that you feel like people are missing right now, as far as artists?
As far as artists, opportunities that they're missing, honestly, the artists today are a lot smarter than the artists of my day when I was coming up, because they understand the digital platforms a lot better than we did.
Yeah.
Right? I learned as we go because I was always trying to stay in front of it, right? But today, these artists aren't missing anything. The only thing that I can say that they're missing is peace. They getting rich just to go, just to die. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't understand that part. I don't see how you work to get to a certain level of success and then you just still in the street. Like, that's crazy to me. So if you ask me if they missing anything, it'd be common sense.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory. Do you want to hear it?
Absolutely.
I feel like when artists come in, right? Rap artists mainly, because they're the ones mostly rapping about, their old experience, their old life, things like that. My theory is that once you start making these records and you're promoting a certain hood that you're no longer around, that could get dangerous for you. So you kind of have to stay.
That theory actually plays a big role, because that's where it's a lot of jealousy, it's a lot of envy, it's a lot of people that's literally in the trenches.
Yeah.
That's making penitentiary chances as we speak. But yet you're out there living in this huge mansion, making thousands in walkthroughs and millions in tours, and you still talking about a life that these guys are actually really living. So when you find yourself back in that same hood, they were like, oh, okay, that's what you're living, huh?
Right.
Let's find out if you're still about that life. So they will try you and test you. That's very dangerous. You're 100% correct. The second part, and I think a lot of people miss, is the spiritual side of this. And this is the part that I think when people create their goals, they always forget. There's a goal that you set for your basic achievement, and you follow it, you execute, you go. But alongside that goal, there's also a spiritual goal that has to align with your actions. And people don't realize how powerful words are. Words were set to become the transit for prayer for a reason.
Yes.
When you put words out into the universe, it comes back. It definitely comes back.
It has energy, yes.
That's the energy of life is the things that you put out verbally, right? So when you go out and you're talking about death on record, most of the people that's talked about death on record eventually died.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Or
this
bring
is no
that
secret.
energy in some kind of way.
Or bring that energy within your cosmetic circle. So you got to be very careful the energy that you put out vocally, because when you say it, it happens. And if it don't happen to you, it's going to happen to something around you.
Right. Because I'm never saying stuff like, I wish somebody would.
Yeah, why? Why would you wish somebody do that?
I would never.
Why?
It's like, it's the wrong energy to put out. I wish more people were as conscious of that, But like you're saying, too, that's one part, the energy you putting out. But then it's like the other part, it's like you're saying, I live this, and then people want to test that.
You don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, of course. Granted, okay, you get credit for going through tough times in life. And in this music business, if you got a history of struggle, it actually helps to music, right?
Yeah.
Because the grittiness of music and hip hop is driven by, tough times.
Yeah. And
that's
the storytelling.
Right, the story. Everybody want to hear about, the rags to riches story.
Yeah.
The rags is what made you rich.
Yeah.
Man, what happened? Tell me about the rags. Now that you're rich, you can't be talking about the rags. You don't experience that no more. You just don't. You can talk about the past tense, but present tense, you can't pretend to be the guy you used to be, because the guy you used to be is still being, focused on by the guys who are. Yeah. And these are the guys that's saying, okay, if you can get benefit from my struggle, then you owe me that.
Essentially, yeah.
You walk into my hood and you actually benefiting from my struggle? Nah, bro, I need that and that. You gonna pay for my struggle. You ain't just gonna walk away getting all this money on my struggle and not come back and bless me.
Exactly.
I mean, it's only right.
That, and then it's like, well, you need protection when you're going to these other places.
That's
so
the
it's
hustle.
like,
That's the
yeah.
hustle, though, because guess what? The problem with these guys, they have nothing to offer you. The only thing they have to offer is violence.
Yeah.
Because that's all they're surrounded by all day. There's no, like, I always said that an opportunity is the one thing that can bring or change anybody's life. I done seen gangbangers, Crips and Bloods come together because of an opportunity. And I done seen them protect that opportunity because it was something that can feed their family. So they put the gangbanging aside just because that opportunity need to be protected for them to feed their family. It happens all the time. The opportunity is the bottom line at the end of the day. But if you have the opportunity and you bragging and boasting about the opportunity, but you're doing it on the backs of the people that's actually struggling with no opportunity, and you ain't giving back to those guys,
it's dangerous.
it's very dangerous. That's where the jealousy, the envy, all that plays a role. Because now the love turns into hate.
When did you develop this conscious mentality that, like, my words are powerful? I don't even want to speak on the things that I've seen,
Right. That's but I think that was the spiritual side of me. That was all homegrown in Africa. That's me being brought up in Africa with a different level of state of how to treat your elders, the respect that you have to have for your elders, all the way down to the advice that they give you. You don't have to take it, but hear it out, listen to it, because you just never know what part of that message can you utilize in your life in general. Most people, they grow up thinking that they know it all. Oh man, I ain't got to listen to them. He ain't never accomplished nothing. How you gonna tell me? And he ain't never been through it.
Yeah.
Some people don't have to go through it to tell you how to handle it because they're in tuned.
Or they listen to somebody else.
Thank you. Like somebody else might have told them something that you're dealing with now, when it clicked, like, oh man, somebody once told me, bro, don't do that. Cause when they did it, and you're right, everybody ain't the same, but everybody goes through same situations, like same or similar situations. But oftentimes, the issue at hand or the solution is very similar.
Yeah.
Because the scenario is similar. You just may have to deal with it or finesse it a little different because of who you are or where you at. But at the end of the day, that task has to be done to delete all the issues that may come to you in the future.
Wow, so much wisdom.
You know?
I love it. How do you feel about awards? What is your stance on awards? Because, I thought I was missing something when I saw that you never had a Grammy. That was just kind of hard for me to believe. So I'm interested to know, what is your stance on awards?
Well, awards for me was never really important. What was important for me was the people that actually support it. Like, my reward is seeing them happy, me selling out stadiums and knowing that everybody there bought a ticket because they love me, right? So when you look at the music business and you look at award shows, and me being an executive in the business, I realized how political it was. And I realized that the people that got awards was all based around good politics made within it.
Right.
Great deals struck in between. Great leveraging.
Campaigning.
I give you this, you give me this. So it's all a part of the business. And business you should never take personal, right? So the reward side of it, I never really took it personal because I knew that's not what defines me. It's just not. Like, I don't care how many trophies that you put up on a desktop to tell me that, okay, this justifies my success or this defines who I am as a person, or it just can't. Like, I just can't, especially if I can put a lighter to it and it melts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, I never really cared about that. I really honestly didn't. And I think people that do care about it are really too focused on what other people think. And I think when you live your life for others, you can never be free. You just can't.
Well, do you think it holds value? Because I feel like a lot of industries, even film and just a lot of industries, sports, it's like a lot of people try to discredit LeBron because he doesn't have as many rings as Jordan and things like that.
Can I tell you something about people like that? Like, okay, it don't take a rocket scientist for you to know that LeBron is one of the greatest players of our time.
Of all time, yes.
You can't deny that.
Can't.
I don't care if he never even had a ring.
Right.
You couldn't sit and tell me that boy right there is not the truth.
Right.
I don't care. I'm going to say it. Right?
And I'm going to agree.
Right. So what I'm saying is, all of that's cool, but it takes a team. It ain't built on one player. Otherwise, it'd be one-on-ones. NBA would be full of one-on-ones, thousands of players playing each other. So the idea of getting a trophy or a ring, it all depends on the team that they match you up with and the synergy between those players. That synergy between those players, that's what wins championships. And sometimes it takes a LeBron or a Jordan to bring that synergy in the room. Because some people are just born leaders. And it has to be an alpha male that other males listen to and respect. You follow?
Yeah.
So I know some players that nobody respect, but he probably somebody that could run circles around, Jordan.
Right.
But nobody respects him.
Right.
So he probably never make it to the NBA.
Right.
Or he probably locked up in jail right now doing the same thing in jail and probably bringing guys together, and they probably undefeated for the whole 20 years he was locked up. But he'll never get that credit because the world never saw it.
Yeah.
Right? So at the end of the day, it's about understanding who you are as a person. The satisfaction has to be within, and I think the world is so filled with insecure people that need validation from other things or other people to feel great. And these statues are a way of making people feel great. And if it works, then so be it. It's cool, to all each his own.
Yeah, it's like I'm on the fence, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because I do believe that when people work at a certain level,
Right.
that they should be rewarded, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And not that it defines their talent or is a measure of their talent.
Right.
I feel like they're just deserving of that. You know what I'm saying? Like Oscars and things like that,
Right.
when you know about what goes into that, it's like, no, they gave it everything. They deserve that. They deserve that. So, like for instance, earlier this year, the Grammys.
Right.
I personally felt, now I like both songs, I'm issuing that disclaimer. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak got the Song of the Year over Wizkid and Tim's with Essence.
Right.
I personally felt that Essence was a huge record. I felt that it was bigger, and I've had people argue that Leave the Door Open was. I felt that there were more environments that I would hear Essence versus Leave the Door Open.
Right.
So I always, I would ask my friends in the music industry, why is this happening?
Right,
they didn't even get nominated. What is going on with that? What do you say to things like that?
Well, I mean, the things like that, like I said, it depends on the environment. The Grammy environment aren't the environment that's in rooms where Afrobeat is played. So they wouldn't know what you know. They're in the rooms where Bruno Mars is being played. So to their defense, they did hear Bruno Mars more than they heard Tim's and Wizkid. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not only a cultural gap, but it's also information gap, because if you're gonna be on those committees, you have to be in tune with every culture.
Yeah.
But people are picked due to success or due to specific access or due to financial means or due to whatever purposes they utilize them for. But most of the people that I've discovered within certain award committees aren't really music people. They're just CEOs of
That's just
companies.
their corporate job.
Right. They're not music guys.
They're not of the culture.
They're not of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the greatest things that probably could have happened when they, grab, Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam to be a part of the Grammys. And so now they're grabbing real music people like producers and writers and artists. This helps a little bit because it creates a better, more fair thing. But I think when you're talking about awards, I think the committee should be the audience. I don't think it'd be a specific group of people. It should be the audience. And I think that's why the People's Choice Awards to me was the only award show that I actually was like, I like that.
Yeah.
Because the people
get
are,
to vote.
they're the ones that's the only award I ever won in my whole career was a People's
Yeah.
Choice. Because that's what made me say, okay, I know what I'm doing is for the people. And they granted me that award. That's the only award I ever cherished.
Yeah, because it's more real.
It's real. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But don't feel bad about it, though. It's
no,
not-
I don't
yeah.
feel bad about it. I just feel, because there's so many actors and actresses, too,
Right.
that I feel the
I mean,
same way.
Now, the Oscars is a prime example.
And the Emmys, yeah.
And think about how many amazing black, like female and male actors and actresses.
Yes, my
that
girl,
never-
Angela Bassett.
That had never got awards.
It's insane.
It's super insane to the point where they had to start protesting and the heat started coming. Then they started getting awards.
Oscar So White, Black Twitter. Shout out to Black Twitter, because
know?
if it wasn't for that hashtag Oscar So White, they were never being held accountable for overlooking.
But the question is, who are we to hold them accountable? It's their platform. They built it. Like, if we're going to argue and complain about something that they built to reward us, why we ain't built our own yet?
Okay,
Like-
I have something for that.
Okay.
So I used to work at BT. I worked at BT for a long time,
Right.
and I would notice that when artists were on the come up, they would use the BET platform. It would be not a big deal to get them to do interviews and stuff like that. But then when they get to a certain level, they no longer want to do black media. I've been a person on red carpets screaming, trying to get the attention, like looking so thirsty, but like, just doing whatever I can to get their attention.
Right.
And I may have interviewed this person a year ago, and they walk past me like they don't know
even
me.
know you.
So, we have the platforms, but so many artists, I feel when they get to a certain level, it's like, that's not a good look, or they don't want to do it anymore.
But honestly, I wouldn't really blame the artists, right? Artists are naturally finicky. They will get arrogant at a certain stage. Confidence always brings out the real person. And success breeds confidence, and then confidence brings out the real. So who you assume that person is when they're on the come up, I promise you is not that same person when they up. So the platforms, as you know, like Oscars and Emmys, they're built to supply you at the top. They've already created the threshold, and they've already created, you can say, the value and the class and all that comes with servicing a superstar.
Yeah.
Our platforms ain't did that.
I mean,
I'm being all the way real.
They can if
But-
people continue to support them.
No, but understand, our platforms have to motivate us to get to the top. Because we are already there. We're the ones providing the content for everyone else at the top. We're the creators of all of this. Like, what stops us from saying, okay, cool, if our artists believe that in this case, BET is a B-tier award show, and they feel like they're bigger than BET at that stage, all right, cool. Let's build a higher plateau above BET that those guys can feel comfortable to say, if I come here, it still gives me the credibility that I worked and deserved for. You follow what I'm saying? But we can't say, oh man, they done got Hollywood, they too big for us. You think Oscars said, oh, they got too Hollywood, they're too big for us? Hell no, they didn't. They got the Emmys, and then they got the Oscars. Are they on the same level? Is one higher or one lower?
They're on the same level.
They're on the same level. But us, when we do things, it ain't always, like, we don't do it to the max. We're saving money. We're doing discounts. We want the hookup. And I'm right.
I have more theories, but we can
But
move
I'm
on.
right. All I'm saying is, if we're going to do it for us, let's do it to the top. Let's do it for the best. Let's put all our marbles in. Let's come together, and let's do it right. But we can't compare our platforms to the other platforms, because the other platforms are united.
Yeah.
They come together, they invest with each other, they trust each other.
True.
We find me two niggas that trust each other to put money in on something like this. You laugh because the shit's funny, but it's real. It's like, we got to fix our mentality first. We got to believe that we are actually as royal as they create the concept to look. But if we don't come together to do it, I mean, we're going to be arguing forever.
Yeah.
And complaining about some shit that
So
we
do
actually
you
can
think
create.
it would ever happen?
Listen, one of my biggest, like, my goal is to get everybody to move back to Africa. That's my goal.
Okay.
I want to get as many African Americans back home to Africa as I possibly can. Because I know the day they move back, everything they fighting for in America, they will not have to fight for over there. All the struggle that they struggled over there, they're going to come there with this mindset, with this mentality, with the finances that they built, the equity in life, and bring it back and invest that in Africa. Man, Africa could be the strongest nation in the world if y'all went back home. Because we got everything that it takes to be that. We got the resources, we got the land, we got the population, and together we got the strength and we got the know-how. Like, why we ain't doing that? Just think, right? And I don't mean to drag it.
No, I love this.
We control entertainment. Imagine if all the black entertainers decided to go back to Africa and just entertain in Africa, start our own businesses, labels, distribution companies, marketing companies, all that in Africa. We control sports.
Yeah.
Imagine if all the black players went back to Africa to play sports in Africa. Not only would we be the star player, but we would own the team. Just imagine.
They wouldn't do that. They won't even boycott.
But that's my point. Just imagine if we all went and created our own official team. Just imagine. Do you think these sponsors will be putting all this money into NBA and NFL and all that if niggas wasn't playing in it?
No.
But guess where the viewers will be watching though? They'll be watching a channel in Africa watching them niggas. Just imagine if LeBron started his own team in Africa, picked his own players. He would own not only the team, but can you imagine with his eye and his vision on what a player looks like? And there's players in Africa that's taller than Usain Bolt. Manute Bol. Manute was 7'2". I saw guys at 7'9".
Just walking around.
Like walking around. And we talking about speed, stamina. Man, but they know this. They know how to utilize us because they just dangle the carrot. They know we ain't gonna ever come together. They know this already. So they always play us against each other. You know, there's always this divide and conquer that always works and never fails.
It's a mentality that,
Our mentality is what we need to fix first. Once we fix that, we'll be fine. So the question is, will you think we can ever do it? Our generation is too late. But our kids, we can start teaching them slowly but surely on how to adjust their mentality moving into the future. And then they're gonna make the uprising themselves. That revolt gonna happen with the kids. The mentality is already going there because they already too disruptive to follow the rules. But the moment they realize that the rules that they're actually, revolting against, they can be free if they just go back home and create their own rules, create their own systems, create their own avenues. Like, Africa's the only place black people can go and be free. It's the only place. It's like it's no other place. And the world is moving in that direction. So Africa's being developed in a way that no other country in the world is being developed.
Yeah.
But hurry up and get there, because while y'all sitting around waiting, you got the Chinese over there building, getting money.
Right.
You got the Germans over there building, getting money. The Italians. I mean, everybody getting money but African Americans. Like,
This is okay. Let's because this is a business podcast, but I'm forgetting. Like, I'm getting so caught up, but it's so true. Like, there's so many resources over there, but the mentality is so small, and no one wants to walk away from America.
It's fear. It's fear. Like, we've been brainwashed so hard to the point where the moment you mention Africa, people get scared and start shaking, and they don't even know why. Like, when you look at the Jewish community, they have the smallest population in the globe, but yet they control everything. It's because they understand the value of human resource, and they stick together.
Yeah.
They don't even have to like each other, but they're going to do business with each other because that's how they survive.
Yeah.
You know,
and they don't feel the need to show everything they're doing and promote it. They just
because it's bad for business. It don't help the business. Actually, doing all that, you spending money and you wasting money in areas where you can actually put it in a resource where you can double it.
Yeah.
Or where it can strengthen you even more.
So, with that being said, are you looking forward to, or do you have plans on developing more artists from the continent?
Oh yeah, I think that part will never, that'll never go anywhere. That's in my blood. Music is just there. So whatever I can continue to do to build, like right now, we trying to introduce the whole Amapiano into America.
Say it again?
Amapiano.
Okay.
Remember that name.
Amapiano.
Amapiano is a sound that was stemmed from Afrobeat, but it's more like house, deep house, rhythmic African, like it's different. But it will kind of give you up-tempo Afrobeat, but when you hear the rhythms, it's different because it's more tribal, it's more South African, But that sound is slowly coming up. I signed an artist. He's actually a producer DJ named Neptunes. He's like the top producer in the Amapiano game right now, and had the biggest. He's probably not the top producer, but he's had the biggest song, and he's the rising producer that probably will take it over. And I'm sure you heard the song too. It was a song that he did with an artist named Goya. You know, and it's I'm a piano record. You know, you want to chill with the big boys.
Oh yes, I don't
Pum.
always know the names, but I do know that song.
Right,
That's a viral song.
Right, he's the creator of that record.
Oh, nice.
Right, and that's Amapiano, by the way.
Okay.
But when you hear it, you would just assume.
Oh yeah, I know the
you
sound.
think it's Afrobeat, right?
Yeah.
But it's a different sounding Afrobeat.
Yeah.
You're like, what is that Afrobeat? Like, I know it's African, but it's Amapiano.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe now.
It's a bit more intense.
It's a bit more intense, yeah, and it's more dancey. It's more. It's like imagine if like Afrobeat had house music. Amapiano would be that, but it's just more rhythm to it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of getting everybody back to the motherland and all
Right.
that, you know what I'm saying? Tell us about Akon City.
Akon City is going to be the beginning of getting everybody back to the motherland. You know, in a few years, we'll be in the first stage complete to start hosting. You know, our goal is to have the whole city built out within the next 10 years. We've already started construction. It's a $6 billion project. Very excited about it. It's a smart city complete. But it's like we're utilizing all of the African resources that the rest of the world been using. Now we're just using them same resources to build out in our own country. Yeah.
What will be the maximum population that Akon City will hold?
Well, the city that we're currently building now, the population is about 100,000. You know, it's a very small city compared to most, smart cities, but it's just the beginning. And then we're going to scale out as time goes in and continue to build outward. And as more investors come and want to be a part, then we build it out. So the whole idea is for it to just continue. But we're going to do Senegal, we're also doing Uganda, and then we're going to do Congo as well.
What makes a city smart?
It's the technology attached to it. You know, with our technologies though, we got things that, I want to say it's so bad, but we can't.
So, what types of technology would you find in a smart city?
Well, okay, the kind of technology you find in a smart city, a lot of it is super smart. You don't have to do much. Everything is done for you. Like you got self-driving cars in smart cities, right? You come in, you can just speak the location of where you want to go. The car takes you directly there, drop you off. You don't have to drive it. There ain't no driver attached to it. You just literally, it comes pick you up, drop you there. That's a prime example. You go into the restaurant.
Would people have their own cars, or would they just have these?
No. I mean, these are cars that's just roaming throughout the city, almost like Ubers. You know what I mean? And when you walk, and when you get in the car, because your account is what actually ordered it. So you don't have to pull out your credit card, you don't have to pay. The moment you go in the car, it already identifies you and starts to bill you.
How would you order it? Like an app?
Yeah, it'll be most likely on an app, but in this case, it's going to be through the Akon wallet.
Okay.
So the Akon wallet now was built specifically to start in the city, and we're going to scale it out
And that's
to the rest of Africa.
Akon is your cryptocurrency.
Well, people call it a cryptocurrency, but it's not really a cryptocurrency.
Okay.
It's actually a currency that can be converted into crypto.
I see.
Does that make sense? So it's like
it's more than a crypto.
It's way more than a crypto. But for the crypto users, they can definitely utilize the crypto. For people that want to invest in crypto or hide behind the crypto to evade taxes, crypto is crypto until they figure out how it all regulates. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's going to be on an Akon exchange, and it'll all be able to work out together.
So are you looking for any developers or like creators?
Yes, we're always looking, and we'll never stop looking. Like creators, designers, developers, architects, engineers, inventors. Like we're looking for all of that. So anything that you can think of that you feel you can bring value to it, bring it now, because I promise you the ones that come in now are going to be multi-billionaires in the next 10, 15 years. I know this for a fact. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Akon, be my mentor. Let me stop. Okay. I saw an interview that you did where you were talking about solar energy and contracts that you had with the Biden administration. Could you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so that one is actually really easy. Like when Biden, actually it all started when Obama was in office. Obama had Lighting Africa, which was an initiative to bring energy to certain parts of Africa, right? At that time, I had Akon Lighting Africa. So a lot of people would mix Lighting Africa with Akon Lighting Africa.
Okay.
At that time, because we were already in the rural areas. and we were like very, very active. But because obviously the American administration hadn't been in Africa to understand the terrain and certain things, they had a lot of difficulty navigating. So we were brought in to help navigate them through the process. But then we built the relationship as we going in, and then when Biden got in office, you know, he got his Biden Clean Energy program that he had going on. And in the urban areas, like in the hoods, it's majority of the coal plants in America are all based in the hood. This is where all the energy is being created, you know, and we're in that environment, obviously. So, but they wanted to kind of convert all the dirty energy into clean energy. So we were brought in, one of my companies were brought in to actually convert the coal plants into solar or really renewable energy, you know, solutions. So it's been pretty cool.
So how would someone else, because I remember in that interview, you were like, it's a good thing to try to get into the energy. How would someone go about doing that?
Well,
that's like a government contract, right?
Well, this is the thing. In America, 100% government contract, and you ain't. It's almost impossible to get into it at the time when they were doing like oil and gas. But now that it's solar, it's a different game because solar's it's so many components in solar that can be sold, all the way down from the solar plant, you know, the solar panel rather, right? So, or you can even have a whole bunch of land that a plant can be built on. Like there's so many areas now where you can actually get into the energy space. With us, we were just acquiring all the small solar energy companies all throughout the United States and making them a part of the Akon lighting. And then from there, we were already in because they were already in. But then now we created a fund called the Black Sunrise Fund where people can actually invest into the fund to be a part of the energy projects that we actually developing.
Wow. And is the Black Sunrise Fund geared towards Black investors or?
It's geared toward minority investors.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That would want to be in an energy field or anywhere in the energy sector. Because the average Black person ain't getting in. They're not going to let you in.
Right.
But we already in. But you can invest in us, and then that's how you get in. It's the best way.
Did you ever get into NFTs?
Oh, I was into everything. I was even now still into it. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about the NFT, all of that is still immature.
Yeah.
You know, certain areas you can make good money. You create hype on a certain NFT and certain NFT drops. You promote it properly. You can make some good money. But it's still not fully mature yet to a point where you drop everything you're doing to get into the business. You still want to kind of slowly stick your feet in, you know. Yeah, you want to be easy with it because there's a lot of scammers in this business too.
Yeah, I just saw, maybe Jake Paul, but I don't want to like get the name wrong, invested 6 figures into an NFT and now it's worth $10.
Well, unfortunately, when he invested it, or whoever that was, they most likely invested it at the time or right before the crypto space started to go down. Like the market just went down out of nowhere. It just started slowly sliding, going down. People pulling their money out, and then when you pull your money out, it goes down even faster.
I know. Yeah. I kept my money. I'm keeping my money.
No.
One day I can wake up rich.
My advice to you: keep it in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's gonna go back up like it always has. It's no different from any other currency. It's gonna drop, and then it's gonna fluctuate. It's gonna go up. It's gonna go down. So just wait it out. They're gonna fix all the kinks. The economy gonna grow back in because right now we're in inflation. Everything is being cost. All the cost is way more than it's supposed to cost.
Everything.
That's gonna crash in a minute too.
You think so?
Yeah,
because I feel like certain things aren't going to go back down.
Well, one thing about real estate, it always goes down and it always goes up. And right now, the kind of money they're asking for basic real estate it's unheard of.
Yeah.
It don't even make sense.
Yeah.
So just let the market kind of adjust itself, and then before you go in and purchasing anything related to real estate.
What does Akon want his legacy to be?
Actually, I thought about that a lot. I just didn't want to be known for singing and dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned Akon, and all you can mention is my hit songs. I wanted it to be way more than that. I really wanted to be remembered for being, one of the pioneers to help to develop Africa. That's where I'm at right now.
You're doing a lot over there.
Right.
You're doing a great deal.
We're doing anything there is to be done. It's too much to do.
Yeah.
So no matter what you get involved in, it's going to be a success. Like literally whatever you decide to get into is going to be successful. That's how easy and open the country is.
When you talk about money and branding yourself, and then we have people like Kanye West,
Right.
who right now many would say is having an episode. He's already a billionaire. So a lot of people say, well, that's why you can't really control him.
Right.
But as a businessman, do you think that the path that he's on right now can be detrimental to his brand?
He's in a position where he's openly expressing what he feels in his mind things should go and how things should go relating to his past experiences. Ye's experience ain't the same as my experience. Just because Ye feels that white lives should matter don't necessarily mean I have to feel that white lives matter. Now, granted, as humans, we all believe that all lives matter. We do. And everybody knows this, right? But you can't simplify a brand to reality. And Kanye is thinking from a marketer. He's thinking as a marketer. He's thinking from a brand ambassador. He's thinking from someone that's very creative.
Yeah.
So normal times, creative people, they don't think about impact. They don't think about feelings. They don't think about history. They don't think about how many people died for the phrase the phrase Black Lives Matter even had to exist.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there was a phrase that said Black Lives Matter.
Right.
We went through a history of
Still.
going through
Yeah.
a history of being mistreated as human beings.
Yeah.
For us to create that line.
Yeah.
And it was for the purpose of raising awareness
Yeah.
that our lives actually matter.
Right.
So you can't compare a white life who's been taking Black lives forever and saying their life matter. Even though it does, under God's eyes, it does matter.
And that's obvious in this
That's
country.
obvious.
Yeah.
But my point is, a white life can't matter until our life isn't in a position to matter again.
Yeah.
Our life have to matter to you. You understand? It has to matter to you first because there's too many people that died for it. There's too many people, lives had been affected. There's so much history that's been entangled and created to the point where our minds mentally will never be the same. Our mentality is due to the treatment we got in the past. This is why, as a people, we can't
Like we
come
spoke
together.
about earlier, the crabs in the barrel mentality.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't speak
It's
on
deep rooted.
It's so much bigger than your marketing. And it's heavier. And even white people can agree. That's when you know, when white people can agree, that's when you know it's real.
An entrepreneur like Akon, who is just so business savvy, where do you get your information from? Are there certain books that you read or people that you follow?
Nah, man, my grandpa always told me when you're talking about money, there's no better sense, in the sense of the word, than common sense. Some things you're not always supposed to know, but it's some things that you're supposed to feel either ain't right or ain't right. You have to have a pulse for it, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs have the pulse for it because the reason why they're entrepreneurs is because that pulse exists. Like you can kind of feel when something is going to work.
Yeah.
You can't explain it to somebody until it actually is happening because they don't see the vision that you see it because you're actually feeling something that you're trying to explain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't explain a feeling. You just got to go with it and just pray that the person that you explain it to is going to believe in you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Is there anything else that you would like to leave us with?
Yeah. Go back to Africa. Take all y'all black asses back to Africa. ASAP. I need some help.
He need help, y'all.
It's too much money for one man. Like, what are y'all doing? Stop.
Now, how we gonna get there? We getting on the PJ or we?
Man, you gonna take a basic flight Delta direct from New York to Senegal. It's one flight, 6.5 hours direct.
Delta
Same
got
distance.
ridiculous.
Same distance from New York to LA.
Oh, okay.
Same distance.
Same distance.
Same distance.
Really?
Man, New York to LA is 6 hours. Senegal to New York, or vice versa, New York to Senegal is 6.5 hours. 30-minute difference. But same distance. Because if the flight get delayed, now y'all got the same distance.
Okay. Cool.
So get to Senegal, at least.
Well, y'all heard it. Make y'all way back to the continent.
I'm telling you, man.
He waiting on y'all. Well, thank you so much
No, I
for
appreciate
stopping
you.
by. I really love the conversation. I would keep him here for 2 more hours, but we know that he has a lot of businesses to run and things like that. So thank you again, Akon, for stopping
Nice.
through. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Deposits with Brooke England. Peace.